Hi everyone, it's Bev here, your mental health coach, providing tips, tools, techniques and advice helping you to stay mentally strong in these difficult times and beyond. So the topic for this video is anger, and it has been requested. So the person who got in touch with me told me that they want to have some strategies how to deal with anger because this person is shouty and abusive and swears. And so this is the purpose of this video. I'm going to talk about good anger because in its essence, at its root, anger is necessary. And then I'm going to talk about what happens when good anger goes bad. And then I'm going to give you the strategies that you need to cope with this angry person in your life. So, anger. What are the benefits of being angry? Well, actually, we need anger in our lives because it's part of our survival mechanism. So when we see danger, it's necessary for us to get aggressive to be able to fight. Fight, flight is part of our survival mechanism. The hairs on the back of our neck will stand up. This is called piloerection, and that happens in all mammals to make ourselves bigger and more ferocious or formidable, if you will. Anger is also necessary as a motivator. When things go wrong in our lives, people are violating our rights, maybe there is an injustice, we need that anger in order to concentrate, to focus on what needs to be done. Anger also can give us great strength, fortitude, power. Indeed, you will have heard stories of 90-pound weaklings lifting cars off of their loved ones or an injured party, because that adrenaline that goes to our limbs can give us superhuman strength, and that is called hysteric anger. But what happens when all of that hysteric anger and all of that motivation and all of that fight energy is directed at you and you're in the wrong place at the wrong time? Well, when good beneficial anger goes bad, it's because the person has got no or limited emotional intelligence to figure out the appropriate behavior for the situation. So what you'll find with angry people is that they exaggerate, they make a mountain out of a molehill, they will overreact at the slightest provocation. You can see the bulge in their neck, you know, with the blood kind of just like a ticking time bomb. You know, they're just ready to explode. You know, and they are very personal with their attack. So hence the shouting and the swearing and the kind of bulging eyeballs. So no emotional intelligence. Secondly, to be angry at the slightest thing is bullying, right? And we all know what bullying is about. It's about violating other people so that you feel better. That's what a bully is all about. But it's also a cowardice as well, because an angry person is not going to go screaming and shouting at the boss. No. And they're not going to go screaming and shouting at a police officer, for example, because they know exactly what's going to happen to them as a consequence. So people that are angry and use anger as their default emotion figure out somewhere in the back of their mind that I'm going to be angry at you because I can get away with it. The other thing about angry people, the third thing, is that they think that the world is against them. So, you know, someone jumps out in the traffic. They take that personally. That person has cut me up. Why are they doing this to me? So it could be the slightest thing, like you haven't emptied the dishwasher, or indeed cut across them in traffic, or the parcel hasn't arrived on time, or whatever it might be, the world is taking it out on them. So what do you do What do you do? That's my dog. What do you do if somebody is taking out all their anger on you? You happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I want you to first of all think about yourself. You have to work on yourself to figure out, why does this person feel that it's appropriate to pick on me? And I would wager it's something to do with the language that you use. I call it weak language. So you're apologetic, you're defensive. And I would also think about looking at your body language, because think about it. What happens to a weak animal in the jungle? They're going to get picked on. So there's something about your demeanor that the person sees as weak. So if you kind of straighten yourself up and think about your posture, you're less likely to be picked on. So working on yourself is one thing. The second thing is, don't take it personally. It's not you. It's really not about you. You just happen to be in the way. They are a ticking time bomb, and you happen to be in the way when that fuse gets lit. Something happened to them in the past, and they are angry. They're angry kids. They are angry, and you should not take that personally. The other thing is that you don't need to be a victim. Why should you put up with screaming and shouting and people being inappropriate in your presence? You have to figure out a way of not being the victim. So here's how. Here are the strategies coming at you. So the first thing is to use, and actually this is one of my favorites, is to use silence. Do not take the bait. It is said that anger is a descent into madness. So are you going to have a conversation with a mad person? Not at all. You're going to use silence. It's nothing to do with me. You can rant and rave as much as you like, but I am not taking the bait, because what happens is, with anger, it is contagious and it can escalate, and then you're fighting a fight which has nothing to do with you in the first place. So silence. 2, if it's appropriate, leave the room, leave the house. Go and take a walk. Let that person let off steam alone. Let them do it alone. So those are the first 2. Now, the third one now is to use the word I. So I would appreciate it if you did not shout at me. It's different from saying don't shout or don't swear. Because what happens is, if you say don't shout, the person's going to say, I'll shout if I want to, right? And they will get off on the fact that you've told them not to do something. But if you say, I would appreciate it if you did not shout. I'm valid. You're standing up for yourself. Then they are going to hear you in the recesses of their mind that you don't appreciate it. So you have to teach people how to work with you, to communicate with you. So that's I. The fourth one on the list is to use a technique called broken record. So here we go. So in broken record, let me give you a scenario. So let's just say someone's screaming and shouting at you because you haven't done something to the standard that they want you to do it. So then they say, well, you didn't fill in that form as I wanted you to fill in that form, right? So you say, okay, I appreciate that I didn't fill in the form, and I would prefer it if you did not shout. Well, you don't know that this form has got to get to the estate agents on time, and wherever it's got to go on time, and you're really disrupting my life and whatever. I understand that it's got to get to the estate agents on time, and I would appreciate it if you did not shout. So what you're doing is you are using repetition, you're using persuasion, and you're saying to that person, I am not going to get into the debate about why I didn't fill in the form or what I didn't do. I appreciate all of the things that you said, and I want you to stop shouting. So that is number 4. So then we can move on to number 5. Now, did you hear me say, I will do whatever it is that you want me to do, and I appreciate it if you do not shout. And the key in this is and. So let's rewind. Now, if let's just say back in the days when you were called into your boss's office and the boss said to you, really, you're doing a really great job, but there are a few things that I want you to consider, I want to focus on, right? So when a boss says you've been doing a great job, but we focus on what's coming next. So but is like a verbal eraser. Everything that goes before, the person hasn't focused on, they haven't heard it. They're going to listen to what comes after the but. So you take out the but and you put and, because that creates a whole sentence, a whole different meaning. So let's go back. I will do whatever you want me to do, but stop shouting. So all they hear is stop shouting, and then they're going to go off on, don't tell me what to do, don't tell me how to be, etc., etc. Now, if you say, I will do whatever you want me to do, and I would appreciate if you stopped shouting, that's a whole bite of consciousness which they can accept. Okay, so I get what I want and you get what you want. So that is the and is really important when you are negotiating, when you are expressing something that you want to happen. Now, let me just talk about sarcasm for a moment, because I have been talking about out and out aggression, out and out anger up until this point, but some people are, and it speaks to that coward bit, so they're not able to tell you, well, I really don't like that, and they don't tell it to your face. So what happens is that they dig, they use sarcasm, they use put downs, they are quite sneaky in their cutting remarks, and if you call them on it, they will say, ooh, touchy, or what's the matter with you? Have you got no sense of humor? So this is how you deal with sarcasm. So, for example, if somebody said to me, let's think, Bev, didn't they do your jumper in your size? They didn't do your jumper in your size. And I would answer, and you're asking me this because? Just get them to finish the sentence. What is it that they're trying to say? Help them to say it. What are you saying? Are you saying that my jumper doesn't fit? Are you saying that you don't like my jumper? What are you saying? Name it so that I can deal with you. But people that use sarcasm are using indirect aggression, and it stems from cowardice. So you call them on it, you get them to say what it is, but you know what will happen? Because they're such cowards, they will go, oh, well, didn't mean anything. Leave them with that. Again, as I say, you train people how to treat you. So I hope that silence, if necessary, leave the room, the premises, if you can. Use the I statement, so you say exactly what you want to happen. Use broken record, so you repeat. You use persuasion. You stick with it until they hear you. This is what I want to happen. I don't want you to swear. I don't want you to shout. You use the word and. So you're going to get what you want, and I'm going to get what I want. And you then deal with sarcasm by getting the person to say exactly what it is that they mean. What's your point? All right, I'm going to leave you with all of that. I'm hoping that you, the requester, I've answered your questions. Until next time, stay safe.